Go download my free legato course right now and learn to play fast in the fastest way possible. Hey, how do you become better automatically with zero effort? Sounds like clickbait again, one of those things that we like to write in headings of videos, but this is actually true. Why is it true? Because there are secrets out there. There are things that nobody is aware of, or most people are not aware of, because we don't look for it. We just do what everybody else is doing. But that's not for you, because you want to look for those secrets. You want to look for those few insights that can actually give you what you want faster. And I promise you, this is something that most people overlook. So how do we make automatic progress? Well, everybody does at some point when they spend enough time doing something. You know, you learn to play guitar, right? And at some point, you just automatically become better because you play guitar, because you learn a couple of new chords once in a while, because why not? You know, you stumble onto a song and there's a new little challenge. But most people give up before they reach that point because they start playing guitar and there's a huge amount of resistance because, you know, when they want to get to that point, because it hurts when you play and you try to put your fingers in the right place, and it seems like you will never get to the point where you can actually play guitar confidently. But then some people go to that point, and I guess, you know, you're maybe at that point where, you know, you're so good at it that it's like, why would you ever stop, right? But what I'm talking about here is the point of breakthrough with anything. Imagine being a little kid and you want to learn how to speak, which every kid does without even thinking about it, right? And there's a point of breakthrough. And I'll do other comparisons as well so you understand what this is about, so you can take yourself to that breakthrough where everything becomes automatic. Because a kid learns to speak by picking up words, which is basically just sounds, you know, that's a tree, that's a chair, and then it points to stuff, right? And gradually it begins to put words together. And it's very slow in the beginning, you know, 2, 3 words, 1 word, then 2, then 3, then 6, then 9, and then suddenly something happens. It's like an explosion. And suddenly the kid just can't stop talking, right? Because it begins to put words together and it's slow in the beginning and suddenly it learns automatically. Now it's got so many words, it starts talking constantly, right? So now it's practicing speaking and thinking without even thinking about it, without having any conscious effort connected to it, right? It just happens. It has its own life. And the same thing happens when you practice. Just imagine if you want to become a chef, right? You know nothing about cooking. And so gradually you learn how to, you know, handle vegetables and how to handle meat and everything and what spices are and how you put them together, how you use everything. And then gradually, as you learn, you get to a point where you just start getting inspired by what you do. You start shuffling things around, start getting ideas as you cook. What if I added curry to this? Let me see, what if I, you know, and that's what it is like to be a chef compared to one who just knows how to follow a recipe, right? The same thing goes on the guitar. There's a point where you can learn something where it becomes automatic. And you want to get to that point. You want to push to that point. Same thing in, you know, teaching online with the thing you're watching now. The amount of subscribers I have on this YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, or the amount of email subscribers, people you can communicate to, that is extremely slow in the beginning. It's like it takes forever just to get 1,000 people out there who's listening to what you do, who can get some value from it. But then gradually it picks up pace. And then at some point, there's a tipping point where you get so much momentum. It's really the point of momentum where it's unstoppable, right? It's like so many people know you that so many people are telling other people about it. And then suddenly it's like you're out in the open. It's not a problem anymore. It's just, it has its own energy, right? Like speaking, learning how to speak, or like learning how to cook, or learning how to play guitar. It's the same thing. So with any skill that you're learning, and most people will never get to this point. With any skill you're learning, you have to amass all your powers to get through the wall, to get to the point of momentum, right? And you can have like 7 different skills down, alternate picking, sweep picking, chords, rhythms, strumming, all kinds of stuff that you've been practicing. But you haven't really pushed beyond that point yet. So you're not at the point of momentum. Right? And it depends on what skill it is. It might take you a little bit longer with alternate picking than it does with playing chords. But you can push to that point. And the way to get to that point is to have focus, is to burn through and say the next 2 months, all I'm going to do almost is just focus on my chord playing skills, or is to just focus on my strumming skills or my scale skills for the next 2 months with focus and intensity. 80% of my time every single day is what I'm going to spend just focusing on that over and over and over again. And within that, I'm going to focus on just a couple of chords at a time, or just a couple of scale shapes, moving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because that makes you break through. And get to the point of momentum where everything just flows, right? And it's often, as I talk about in the principle of mastery, a matter of just taking a couple of scale shapes and moving back and forth between them, or a couple of chords and moving back and forth between them, until you're so good at it that you've maxed out on your physical ability, right? Once you're at that point, you're at the breaking point and you have momentum, and you can introduce other chords and they'll be much easier to learn. It'll be much faster to learn new chords. And the more chords you learn, the faster they become. And suddenly it's just unstoppable. You learn automatically and easily, right? And you want to push to that point with anything, but most people don't. Why? Because we live in a culture of mediocrity. And this is not being mediocre. This is focus. And focus is the opposite of mediocrity. Mediocrity says practice a little of everything all the time, because that guarantees that you will never push through anything. It's simply too slow. So you won't get results enough, and you'll be like, you'll practice for 20, 30 years and you'll wonder why you haven't achieved much, and you're still an intermediate in your own image, right? The way to break out of that is to have so much focus on one area that you get momentum, that you break through. So what do? You spend 2 months on just one thing and just see what happens. Then you take the next thing and the next thing. It's not like you can't practice everything you do now, but you just pull out one thing and you focus exclusively on that for an extended period of time and really get some results in that area, so you break through the wall, like you did when you picked up the guitar in the first place, right? You can do it. But it's the 2 month limit. It's a very good format to have. And then 80% of your time, just focus on a single point so you can break through. In our new course, Origin, that you'll find if you click the link below here, all about rhythm, all about the missing skill that most people are walking around with, that will do more for your development than any other single thing you can focus on. We have a 2 month process where I'll send you videos once you're in the program, and will inspire you and push you to get through that initial period until you're on the other side and you cannot not practice rhythm all the time. Wherever you go, it's just an automatic thing. But you need that initial period, and we're going to help you break through that and make sure you have the focus over time to make that happen and get to the other side where it becomes automatic and just a playful thing we do all the time to become a master of rhythm, because anyone can. So go check that out, and then I hope to see you in tomorrow's video. And I should say, you can start really focusing on this and using this principle right away. You don't need the program. So please remember this principle here, whatever you do. Write it down on post-it notes. Make sure you can't forget. Put up reminders in your calendar. Whenever you find something valuable like this, make sure you can't forget. Otherwise, you will forget. So see you in the next video. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.